Hi, it's Ava Hughes. This is my unit quiz for learning review. I'm going to start with my creative application and then go into my quiz results and reflect on the questions that I got wrong. Um, for my creative application, I'm going to focus on the labeling theory. I chose this concept honestly because I found it really interesting how labels from society can influence a person's behavior over time. And to be honest, I think to make it to dive into that a little bit deeper, I did this quiz right after we did the Unit 2 test, and before I did the test, I rewatched the Gang Wars videos and all of those, like the Jeffrey Dahmer videos too. But I feel like the Gang Wars video really labeling theory really stood out into that, so I felt really drawn to it when I did the test and chose or sorry, not the test, but for this part of my application. But the image that I chose that I will insert is a picture of a dog being labeled as dangerous. For example, as you can see, it's like a beware of dog sign. I think this really connects well to labeling theory, honestly, because once something is labeled a certain way, people start to treat it differently. For example, if a dog is labeled aggressive, like even a breed, like a pit bull, for example, people might avoid it or act scared around it, which could really make the dog's behavior a lot more aggressive. I think this really relates to people too, especially because if someone's labeled dangerous or as a criminal or a troublemaker, others might treat them differently and kind of trying to avoid and stay away from them. And over time, that person actually might start to believe that label about themselves and start to act that way. Um, Especially because they feel like they have nothing to lose and stuff like that. Sorry, my voice is shaky. I'm a little bit sick, so I'm a little bit out of breath. Um, Now we're gonna jump into my quiz review. I got a 27 out of 30, not that bad. Overall, I found the quiz a little bit challenging, but I really liked it because I found it helpful doing the test before I did the quiz because it kind of just instilled more in like of the theory into my brain. But um some of the what's it called, choices sounded kind of similar, and that kind of made me really overthink and kind of second guess myself. But for my first question that I got wrong, I chose the one about biological trait theory, and the different names used for the criminologists in that field. Honestly, when I answered it, I chose the biologically oriented criminologists. I honestly think I picked that one because the options sounded really similar and I didn't fully recognize which one didn't belong, and I kind of just guessed instead of thinking through it carefully, and I really started to second guess myself on if I really knew what the answer was. Um, but when I checked back to the textbook in the chapter about biological theories, it listed terms like biological criminologist and biosocial criminologist and social biological criminologist as the actual terms used. So honestly, now I understand that the correct answer is biological oriented criminologist because official it's an official and criminal it's official or commonly used, sorry, term. I have that part written down so I don't forget it. But obviously writing it down didn't really help. The options are um the other options are all real terms used to describe people in the field. Um, for my second question that I got wrong, it was about freaking strain theory, which upset me so badly because I literally talked about strain theory so much on my test too. I don't know how I got this one wrong. Um, I chose false because I really don't think I read the question properly. I already knew the concept really well. It was already really brained into my brain, but I honestly think I just rushed and clicked the wrong answer without thinking, and I truly should have went over it more thoroughly. But when I checked my textbook and my big pages of notes, in the strain theory section, it explains that crime happens obviously when there's a gap between social goals and success or money, and the ability to achieve those goals through like legitimate and legal means. Sorry, I'm over 5 minutes, but I will be really quick. So the correct answer obviously is true. The idea of disconnect between goals and means is basically the main idea of strain theory. After reviewing it, I realized that it truly was just a careless mistake, and I feel so silly for doing that. But I had to choose that one. But what's it called? Overall, this review really helped me realize that I do really understand the concepts. I just need to slow down, take a breath, take a breath more, especially when reading the questions, just so that I don't make stupid and like silly and simple careless mistakes. Especially like going back to the textbook and my notes really helped like reinforce these theories and make the answers a lot more clear. Thank you. I hope you have a great summer. I'm sorry this took so long.